Hi, my friends. This is Lada from astrolada.com, and I'm back with your weekly horoscopes for the week from the 7th to the 13th of May 2018. And I'm going to focus on two very interesting topics, two very interesting astrological developments this week. One is the shadow period of Mars that is starting, and what you can do, what it means exactly, how you can benefit from it, what even making predictions. And we're going to talk also about a very important astrological event, which is the opposition of the Sun and Jupiter. Basically the cycle of Jupiter is at its peak now, and what it can manifest for each of the 12 signs. So there'll be a short prediction for each of the 12 signs in regards to how they can benefit personally this week from Jupiter being so strong. But first, I want to walk you through the astrology of it. And I know a lot of you don't want to be astrologers or anything like that, but it's fascinating to understand. I try to do it as in simple terms as possible. I'm not teaching you astrology. I'm teaching you what to expect in your life and why it is. I'm teaching you symbological interpretation of this. But before I start, I want to quickly remind you that on the 27th of May, I'm starting the foundational course again, which is it's going to last about 6 months. And it's only $200. After the 27th of May, it becomes $250. So if you order now, you save $50, and you're with me for 6 months, every 2 weeks, and we're going to look at everything to do with houses, planets and houses, rulers of houses. And this is, if you take this course, you're ready to read astrology as a professional. This is the most fundamental part of astrology, the house rulerships and how they combine together to create yogas for wealth or for poverty. For example, you can see such specific details about someone's life by knowing the rulership. For example, if the ruler of the 7th house of relationships is in the 1st, the marriage partner you're meant to be with, they'll come find you. They'll come and chase you. If the ruler of the 1st is in the 7th, you go and chase the partner. Or if the ruler of the 7th is in the 6th house, you meet at work. Or, your partner can be a lawyer, 6th house, or in the military. So we can see such specific details about someone's life just by knowing the rulership. This is the pivotal foundation of astrology and reading a birth chart. So do come and join me, just reminding you for that. And you can hop on board at any time, even later on. All the courses will be recorded. But let's start with this week, May 2018, 13th till the 17th. Okay, let me first explain you about the two events that are happening. The first one I want to talk about, even though it happens later in the week, towards the end of the week, is Mars going in its shadow period and what it means. Just a second. Okay, so Mars is basically from around Saturday this week, Saturday, Sunday, Mars enters a zone of its travels where it's till now, from the end of this week that we're talking about, till around the end of June. Mars is moving forward, but after that, from the end of June, it's going to come back over those degrees again and come back exactly to this point and stop here, this point that starts now in May, from, I don't know, something like the 10th, 11th, or 12th of May, something like that. And after that, at some time at the end of August, Mars reaches the same point back where it was when it's, this week that is coming, and starts moving again forward. So why is that so important, what's starting to happen from next week? Because now you're going to start seeing events. New things will start appearing that till June 2019, they'll start escalating. Towards the end of June of 2019, they would escalate. But something new will start coming into your life, something new that is very important, that you have to go back over and put extra efforts and work a few times over in order to complete some important project, to change something in your life, to incorporate more willpower so you make something. So by the time Mars turns direct and comes here again, you no longer need willpower for this thing in your life. This is but the hard work is, around the retrograde period here. But this whole period of around 6 months is you might be, especially now, starting from May till the end of June. Start paying attention from next week, the week that we're talking about. Something new is going to enter your life, guys. And this new thing you'd have to use a lot of willpower for, to fix, to put extra effort. So Mars is retrograde, and then when it starts moving direct by September, October, sometimes you'd have integrated it so deeply into your life that you don't have to use willpower. It just becomes part of your day. It can be great for, some of you might start some workout routines or some new skills that they're learning. This can be one way how this works, but start paying attention to the things around you. Or another way, I want to use a metaphor to explain the shadow period of Mars. So still have my broken glasses. I haven't had time to go fix them. So how, just a metaphor. This is metaphor for the life, for different people, So imagine you're riding your tricycle down the path of your life, or down the neighbor's, down the neighborhood. And imagine you're riding like, and you see a rubber band. You're like, a rubber band, okay. And we're entering the shadow period of Mars. You see this rubber band. So you continue riding forward, you continue, and your tricycle breaks. And you're like, oh no, crisis point. We reach the crisis point. Mars starts to turn retrograde in June. Something starts breaking down. Something is not working as it should. And you're so in a hurry, to get to the swings, and you're riding a tricycle, you're riding super fast over bumps and everything, and the bicycle breaks. No, you can't get to your swings or whatever. So you're like, what do I do now? There was a rubber band down the road. Well, I have to ride back. Okay, you've reached that crisis point. Crisis happens around here. So, okay, you start riding your tricycle back to the rubber band, which is somewhere you found somewhere during this period from May the 12th till June, till the end of June. And you go pick it up, you fix the bicycle here, and you start going again forward, So it might be a period now, starting from the end of this week, where you can spot some things, but you might not immediately realize what you need them for. It might be something that appears in your life new. It might be something that a person that passes through your life that you think, interesting, but they make an impression on you in some way. It's not something that you don't notice at all. It might be a person, it might be a work project, it might be some life situation, or it might be some device, it might be even some object, that you come across, and you're like, or maybe some course, class, whatever, and you're like, oh, interesting, but you carry on and you reach some breaking point towards June, and you're like, I'm gonna need that thing. Okay, or you can't carry on further, maybe with some work project or whatever, so you have to go back and fix something. You have to go back and find something that you notice in that period. So start paying attention vigilantly, because the more vigilant you are, the easier you won't gonna break down so badly at this end of the period, at the turning point of Mars in June. You'll be like, okay, I know, because the answer is here. The answer in this period. Or also the mistake is there. The mistake that is going to make you go back, something that you break, for example, again, tricycle metaphor. You're riding down, you're going to the swings, and you see a few lying policemen. That's what we call them, or bumps. And you're like, I know this is dangerous, but I'm going to do it anyway. So you go bum, 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 and then the bicycle breaks. And you're like, crap, And so now you can't even reach to the swings. So you have to go back all the way through those bumps, but slowly, slower. You have to, and maybe go put a bandage on your leg because your bicycle broke here, and then you can go back again to the swings, this time wiser. So that can be a metaphor of how you're using your body. Maybe you force your body too much in this period, and now it breaks down. You get sick or something. You have to slow down, go back there, retrace your steps, and you still have to do those things in your life. Take this path every day. So now you'll be learning during the retrograde period how to take those steps back, or how to take care of your body, for example, in a more healthy, caring way, in a slow, in a more clever way. So it might be the need to fix something there. Or another metaphor. This is all metaphors for Mars. Imagine that you're someone who you want to go to the swings again. You take your tricycle and you pass, but you're like, I can't wait to get there. So you start some new project. You have some goal in your mind. You set from here. You're like, this work project or this relationship or this thing that I have as a plan. And this is the goal here. The goal is somewhere here, actually. The goal is here, but you can't reach it. There'll be, the goal is here. So you're like, okay, I'm taking my tricycle. I'm going to go get this. I'm going to get there as fast as quickly. My buddies are waiting there for me or whatever. Or something really desired is there at the end. So you start going really fast and you want to take a shortcut. So you pass the neighbor's lawn and you pass through his flowers and you break them all, So basically you do something because you're in a rush or because it's like this martial quality. So because you're in the state of mind of, the goal the means is not so important. The goal is important. The goal excuses the means. So you kind of step on people's toes, or like the metaphor, you pass through the neighbor's lawn and you break his flowers and you're like, screw it, and you want to carry on. But what happens is that you reach a dead end there. It happens at some crisis point and you realize you can't get to the swings because something's blocking the road. So you have to go back through the neighbor's lawn again. And the neighbor is out, like really fussing and, my flowers. So you have to go back and the neighbor, and you're like, my God, I have to retrace my steps and I really screwed up this time. And you pass by and the neighbor says, I'm not going to let you pass unless you help me fix the flowers and you work with me for a few hours because you did this. And you're like, screw it. And you have to apologize for your reckless behaviors or for your impatient behaviors. Sometimes we're not on purposefully hurtful to others. We were rushing towards something, or we were a bit, not very careful. So you have to, here during the retrograde period, go back and apologize and fix the things with the neighbors, and then he can let you pass and go to your friends again. So this period now that we're starting from May the 12th to June the end can for some of you be like that you do something in a rush or in a less sensitive way because you're rushing towards some goal, or because you're not paying too much attention, or because you're in a hurry, or because you're in the state of mind that is like, the goal excuses the means. You have to be very careful not to do something now, starting from May the 12th, that is kind of thinking the goal excuses the means. It might be something that, just like the boy running through the, lawn with the flowers, you might do something at your work, you might do something in relationships, but be careful because you'll have to you will reach a dead end there at the end, towards the end of June, and you have to retrace your step backs, and you'll have to go and apologize, so fix the broken flowers, so fix the broken project, so be careful with that. I mean, it's good time to start new projects and things like that, but you have to know that there will be a going back, and not to do things that are illegal, or things that are stepping out of line, or that you're stepping on too many people's toes, because you'd have to fix those, because it can create a bigger problem here. Or another metaphor, if you're someone like me, that was a metaphor for someone whose Mars is pretty active, and they usually, when Mars goes retrograde, they have to go fix the mistakes they made, learn to, if they have too many power struggles, to fix them and stuff like that, to go back and sweep the tornado they created when they were passing the first time. There are such people, they're stronger people, but there are people like me who would always try to apologize and avoid and not take risks, and who would always, who have a weak Mars, like a combust Mars, for example, or Mars that is, some kind of weaker, but this period now, so I'll give you another metaphor. Imagine you have another kid with a tricycle that wants to go to the swings again, but it passes through a lawn or through a yard where there is a neighborhood bully. And the neighborhood bully, every time he passes, then he wants to go to the swing. The bully shouts at him, calls him names. Your sister is a H, whatever. You're weak, or do this, or takes your money, and or just says nasty words. take this as a metaphor. Someone in your life that pushes your buttons, might be a boss, might be a partner, someone who steps or walks over you or bullies you or pushes you too much around, and you reach basically an impasse. So you have to pass through here, and you're like, these situations start happening. You start noticing from May the 12th to June the 29th, at some point, situations if you're naturally more inclined like me to, to try to avoid, to take, no confrontations. So you always give your money to the bully or whatever you agree. These situations will start appearing. Someone that pushes your button, someone that pushes you, that stresses you more, will start appearing, or something that takes your power somehow, which is Mars is our power. They will start appearing. Pay attention, because this time you cannot. Other times you are able to get to the swings by giving your breakfast to the bully, or by saying, they tell you, you're wimpy, you're like, oh, sorry, I know, okay, let me pass. Now you pass through the neighbor's lawn, the bully is there, he calls your names again, but you reach a dead end and you have to go back again through the lawn. And you're like, this time I'm going to confront. You reach a breaking point. You're going to have to confront this bully. You're going to have to confront this, whoever it is. It might be a situation, it might not be a person, that is really pressing your buttons, that is really not doing things right, that's kind of taken your power, or that is abusing their power over them. It might be a person, it might be a situation. So now you have to gather up the courage when Mars goes retrograde from June till August, from the end of June to the end of August, to go confront that bully and to go and maybe make a peace or speak with them, rather than try to avoid all the time and try to bury your head, or like maybe it's a boss that always gives you too much work, or maybe it's, and you're going to start seeing this during this Mars shadow period. What is it that you're going to have to confront? What fear it is that has more power over you? What kind of situation that presses your buttons, but you usually swallow it down and bottle it up, that towards the end of June, it will reach a breaking point, and you have to go and say, right, we're fixing this up, because I can't keep going to the swings all the time, or to whatever goal in my life, and this keeps coming. And it might be, for example, you might have allowed always partners to take advantage of you, or for you to do everything for your partner, and that might be one way, let's say. And you reach this point here, and you have to turn back, but maybe it's someone else that now presses your button. It might, in this period, maybe it's someone else, like a representative of all of your partnerships that have been taken, or friendships or relationships that have been piling work on you, and you're always like trying to do everything for them. And now someone will press this button, so you kind of reach this breaking point, and you say, right. And it might not be the person who's been doing it consistently in your life. It might be someone else, but just resembles that situation. And you're going to experience this in this period here, starting from May the 12th, not immediately, but sometime from May to the end of June. Watch out for that. It will appear. So now you have to go back, as I said, from the end of June, not now, but from the end of June. And you will have to confront that situation, or take your power back in some way. And it will help you after that, when Mercury starts moving direct, to be one step stronger, 1 inch, or 1 note stronger. So when other situations appear in your life later on, you're not gonna allow others to walk on you, or take too much, or not speak up your truth, because Mars is this feistiness and anger in us. Or if you're someone else whose Mars is too rampant and out there, who is bullying others, or who is kind of, as I said, just not paying attention to others so much, rushing through things, now certain situations will appear where you can, again, maybe pile up too much work on someone, maybe say some words that you later regret, that words that usually you don't have any bad repercussions for, but when Mars goes retrograde, this time you will. So watch out your steps, guys, in this period from May the 12th to the end of June. And as I said, it's not only for watching your steps, it's also for watching for opportunities, something that can help you later on when you have to retrace your steps, for some opportunities that are coming now, that you might have to be able to go back and source and use those resources to help you fulfill some goal when Mars starts moving direct again from the end of August. I hope you understood that with the metaphors, but that's the clearest way I can explain it. So it's going to be interesting time. Something new is brewing up, something that by the end of this period is going to empower you more or balance the power and the force in your life if it's been too extreme, to kind of rebalance it some way. Or if you've not been driving your car correctly, as I said, or maybe it's your body, maybe it's how you're running your life. And now you start doing things that, that will reach you to a breaking point, so you can change that, and you can change how you treat your body or something, depending what Mars activates in your horoscope after that, depending on your personal horoscope. And I speak about the shadow period of Mars and what it activates for you personally, according to your ascendant sign is the most important, to a lesser degree, the moon and the sun, in my monthly horoscopes for May. So pay attention, check them out, but we'll speak a lot about this. But now it starts the Mars shadow period. I wanted to explain that what it means. Okay, but we have another thing. Actually, it's happening on the 8th of May, 8 or 9. We have Jupiter closest to the Earth on its yearly trajectory. Basically, on its every year, Jupiter comes very close to Earth, so it becomes super bright in the sky. So in May the 9th, Jupiter is closest to the Earth. It's super bright in the sky. Even though it's retrograde, it always becomes the closest to Earth when it's retrograde. Why is that? Because the sun is here. And, the Earth moves around the sun. And when the Earth sits between the Earth, and when the Earth reaches this point when it's between the sun and Jupiter, it's closest to Jupiter. Otherwise, it moves away from it. But then we have in astrology what we call opposition between Sun and Jupiter, because it looks from the Earth like the Sun is, setting while Jupiter is rising on the eastern horizon, and Jupiter is all night bright in the sky, and you can see it. And according to ancient astrology, the brighter a star is, a planet, the more powerful its effects are, the more powerful manifestations it can give, whether it's good or bad. That's why when Mars is super bright in the sky, when it becomes retrograde, wars sometimes happen, and because Mars is a bit of a bully, Mars is it's conflict. Well, but Jupiter is the good one. So we actually, in ancient astrology, the opposition between Jupiter and the sun is a good thing, because the benefic is at its most powerful, brilliant light in its cycle, yearly cycle, and it's very potent. And so Jupiter is very potent at different it has heliacal phases. If you don't know what heliacal phases is, you can check out the webinars with Rumen Kolev, who teaches ancient Babylonian astrology. It's very rare knowledge. You're not going to find it out there on the internet. And this is the person who translated personally all those ancient astrological tablets and clay tablets from Babylon. And he basically revived Babylonian astrology, which is what the kings used, to predict the future. And they had amazing predictions. But according to ancient Babylonian astrology, Jupiter has a few very important phases. It's when it's becoming visible, coming out of the rays of the sun. It's when it's becoming invisible. It's when it's conjoined with the sun, so it's totally invisible. And when it's the strongest light, fully visible. And when it turns direct or retrograde as well. So I think about 6 phases, heliacal phases. But this is one of its most potent ones. And it means Jupiter can manifest powerfully now. As I said, it's like the full moon phase of Jupiter. Just like when the Earth is between the sun and the moon, we have full moon. And as you know from astrology, full moon can give us things. And full moon can manifest materially, because it's the fullness of something, the fullness of light. And light is something we see materially with our eyes. So now Jupiter can give some very important, actually positive development in certain area of your life, the fullness of it, or some important development that can start a trigger powerful manifestation. I would even advise you make a prayer or look towards the 8th of May. Let me tell you exactly which day it is. I think it is Jupiter 18th. It's the 9th of May. on the evening of the 9th of May, go out and look at the sky, and you'll see a yellowish, very bright star. That's Jupiter. Make a wish, turn towards it, make a prayer to God, Jupiter, or to Jesus Christ, or to Buddha, whoever your, higher power is. For me, it's Jesus Christ and Mary Magdalene, but I'll turn and I'll call the spirit of the entities that are connected to Jupiter, and I would ask them for the fulfillment of something of my life. And because it's in such a phase now, it means that this week can be very important for something to manifest, just like full moon in regards to Jupiter Sun. But just to warn you, in regards to where Jupiter is in your horoscope, and we'll speak where it is for each sign. But just to warn you, just like on full moon, some people can manifest, can get good results around the week of the full moon. Others can go a bit gaga because emotions are intensified at their highest. The moon is the fullest. In the same way, Jupiter in its full moon phase, people can go a bit gaga with the qualities of Jupiter, which is the positive of Jupiter is manifesting abundance, giving, fertility even, it's wealth and good luck. But the negative is overdoing stuff, because Jupiter is larger than life. It's the planet of, that expands everything. So we can expand a bit too much. We can overdrink, we can overeat, we can take some more risky, some risks, which kind of can be a bit unbalanced, So you have to be aware of this tendency this week. Everyone will have this tendency to overdo things a little bit. Even the markets tend to reflect it. I've read somewhere, I'm not an astrologer who can predict markets, but I've read from other who actually observe it, that when the Sun-Jupiter opposition happens every year, it's usually when the markets reach their peak maturity, and till then they were growing, and then they start going down slowly. And it's not a big, huge slump or anything unless something else is happening. But it's kind of some peak is being reached in the markets now this year and this week. Actually, next week, because Uranus is transiting into a new sign, the markets can actually go crazy after that, some way, because when an outer planet changes signs, just like happened in 2008 or 2007 when Pluto entered a new sign, and that's when the Lehman Brothers, all those banks collapsed within 2-3 days of this happening, of Pluto entering Capricorn. I think, as far as I remember, 2-3 weeks within that. So Uranus now is changing signs. So actually, it might be some kind of a peak in the markets, and after that, they can start going down. But I want to explain that in your personal life, this can be some kind of a peak or ability to grab like the crest of the wave, let's say. Some important development can happen for you, but try not to overdo it, not to overextend yourself, but grab that opportunity. Sometimes people can be a bit overly too optimistic, but still it's a positive, as I said, it's a positive. The light of Jupiter can grant you something. And now let's speak for each sign. What can you grant? Well, if you're Aries, Jupiter will be this week at its heliacal phase of ripeness, of full moon Jupiter in your 8th house. Some important development in a positive way can happen, but still be aware of not overextending yourself in regards to resources that come to you from others, money that comes to you from clients, for example, from bank or from loan, or something to do with inheritance or taxes. So maybe you're expecting money from some court case, something like that can have positive or more manifesting development. Plus also there can be more fullness in your sexual life, or some kind of more fertility. 8th house is conception. If you're trying to get pregnant, that can be a time. Jupiter is fertility, and it's very bright and ripe there. 8th house is conception. 8th house is also research of some sort. You can have some deep understanding, and especially Jupiter is higher knowledge. And when it becomes in its fullness, in a phase, full moon phase in your 8th house, you can have powerful occult insights this week. Oh, I'm feeling them. I'm on fire. You see Jupiter overexcited, over enthusiastic as well. But you can be very penetrating, discover some secrets as well, because 8th house is the house of secrets and intuition, very deep intuition that you can see like X-ray through others, So watch out for such things this week, Aries. especially Aries rising people, if you're Taurus, it's in your 7th house. Wow, there can be some kind of a fruition or manifestation through relationships, through business partnerships, signing of a contract, something that is something very important, some development that happens. If you're single, on the 8th, 9th of May, when Jupiter is closest to Earth, turn in this phase, go outside and pray to God and pray to the beings of Jupiter, which are benevolent, that grant us opportunities for growth and expansions, that they bring the right partner for you. Or you can even meet someone now, if you're Taurus or Taurus rising, Taurus moon. Of course, not all Tauruses will meet the love of their life. It's impossible, but it can manifest in some other way. You can sign a contract, some agreement. If you're a trader or person that works one-to-one, counseling with others, which is all 7th house things, you can kind of benefit in some way, or there can be some important development or breakthrough. If you're someone who is in the public eye, 7th house is the audience. You can have like an important, beneficial exposure to others of some sort. Okay, if you are Gemini, it's in your 6th house that Jupiter changes phase, and you can overdo things a bit, but also you can manifest in a strong way, make a wish again, especially in regards to something to do with your health. You can have a breakthrough, you can have some revelation or deep, because as I said, Jupiter is higher knowledge, some kind of and divine grace as well, either intuitive understanding about something about your health, or some kind of divine grace to find a solution to a health problem. All 6th house is problems, enmities, arguments with others, court cases as well is the 6th case, like the battle, the competition. So maybe something it can bring you some awareness or some positive development in regards to some competition or competitiveness, or in regards to some work projects. 6th house is work at your workplace as well. It might not necessarily be a new thing because Jupiter is retrograde, but something that you're working on can kind of have a important development this week now, pivotal positive development of some sort and manifestation. And something to do with order and organization, you can have a breakthrough. With planning of something as well, with a debt of some sort. 6th house is debt. Okay, if you're Cancer, it's in your 5th house. Romantic life can have some manifestation because Jupiter, I know Jupiter's been in your 5th house for a long time, but as I said, Jupiter becomes strongest during its heliacal phases. So now Cancer is one of those heliacal phases where Jupiter becomes very potent, and like a full moon Jupiter, it's the brightest in your 5th house. So something romantically important development can happen, and more likely it's positive. And something can happen in your love life that is in regards to children, or getting pregnant, or something in the life of your children that brings material and fruitful results as well. Something positive happens in all those topics. So if you have a creative project, some important breakthrough or development on this creative project you're working, some kind of help or opportunity, or if you are in some business, creative business, anything that you need to use your creative intelligence. I'm not saying speaking and writing or drawing only. When you have to think independently on your own is the 5th house, where you have to, you might be able to kind of shine bright with your gifts in some way. Or it can just bring you a good opportunity to enjoy yourself more, to have more fun. 5th house is all those things. And Jupiter expands those things. And maybe you might overextend yourself having fun. Remember, or having maybe too big expectations of some romantic relationship, but something important will happen in regards to those different 5th house topics. If you're Leo, it's happening in your 4th house. Well, I'm Leo moon, for example, maybe something important can happen in regards to, in a positive way, manifesting way, to manifest something in regards to property, home, place of living. Something good comes through your mom, maybe some reconciliation of old problems, so maybe some insight about parenting, some very good experience with parenting, or maybe property that you've been trying to get, or you've been looking for property. Maybe now the fullness of it, you can maybe find the right property, or maybe you can sell a property or relocate, or something to do with home, property, family, or vehicles as well, and anything to do with going back to your country, anything to do with Yeah, such matters. Okay, so if you are a Virgo, it's happening in your third house. So there might be some opportunities and breakthroughs in regards to some commercial activity, business commercial activities, third house, in regards to some kind of project you're working on, especially if you are in writing, marketing, advertising, media, some sort, administrative work. So many people in those careers. I keep repeating that. Third house is like, you know, so abundant career. So if you're in any such kind of career now, you can have some positive breakthrough, some help that comes to you, some opportunity, some manifestation, fruition of something, you know, full moon. That's Jupiter is at the full moon stage, so to speak. Something important happens there. Something important can happen in a positive way in regards to something to do with neighbors, something to do with workmates, classmates, something to do with your social life to some extent, something to do with short trips, something to do with some skill, some knowledge. You know, maybe if you have some important message to communicate or to share, or some you want to be heard, this can be a very good time. The Jupiter closest to Earth in your third house, the most benefic planet, basically staring at you closest. It's going to be throughout the whole year through the third house. So in regards to speaking something, to marketing, to media, to commercial business activities, to saying some truth, to learning some knowledge, this can be very beneficial. Okay, if you are Libra, it's in your second house. Of course, it's resources. You can see the fullness and some kind of maybe you can get purchase something big, you know, Jupiter, something big, but don't go too crazy. Again, it's an opposition. We can go a bit gaga, but again, it can give you an opportunity to purchase something big that you need, that will be useful for you. It can give you an opportunity to have some breakthrough in your financial situation, or maybe to take a class. Jupiter is high in knowledge, and to have deeper understanding about how to improve your resources now, how to improve your material stability, material financial situation in some sort, how to improve your self-worth. Something can happen that really helps you have an aha moment, clarity, fullness of clarity. Jupiter at its full moon stage, fullness of clarity in regards to what is blocking your financial success, or what is blocking you from self-worth and self-love. And second house is having what you eat as well, and matters of that, you know, and your assets and possessions. So anything to do with that, there can be some positive, important development, breakthrough, you know, heliacal phase. It means there's intense energy there. Okay, and if you're Scorpio, of course, it's in your sign, especially it's happening around the 18th, 19th degree. Scorpio, I would advise all Scorpios, because Jupiter graces their sign once every 12 years. And now Jupiter is in a heliacal phase. It's the brightest, it's closest to Earth. So the great benefic is the closest it can be to in your sign. And it's shining its rays of benevolence and growth and expansion. The closest it's going to be in 12 years into your sign to Earth. So you're like, it's so bright. And he's directly saying, you Scorpios, I'm here for you. Make a wish. Or what do you want full manifestation of? Because Jupiter is about all those, you know, higher knowledge, expansion, growth. Where do you want to grow in your life? Where do you want to the divine blessing and opportunity to come to you? Where do you want, even if you don't deserve it, to receive some blessing? Because if we receive things only if we were deserving, we would have nothing. We're very little deserving, to be honest. So where do you want, turn to God with the divine, you know, we receive everything through God's grace anyway. Where do you want in your life? Any area. You pick and choose your areas, not like the other signs that only have one specific area that they can have this now more powerful manifestation. You Scorpios can pick and choose this area, you know, especially for your personal growth overall. Maybe for clarity, for the purpose in your life, for the direction in your life. This can be very beneficial. Some clarity can come. Some, you know, it might be just a person that appears this week, or article you read, or something that God gives you an answer through that, or some breakthrough that happens. So yes, but those who have their sun, moon, or ascendant around 18, 19 degrees, in Scorpio, 17, 18, 19, that they get this bright full Jupiter closest to them in this phase. They can feel that a lot. What days are those Scorpio borns? Like if their sun is there, it means that they're born around the 10th, 11th, 12th, 13th of November. Okay, so if you are Sagittarius, Jupiter can bring you this week some powerful intuitive insights, like your intuition is very strong. Maybe a dream you can have. Oh yes, Sagittarius rising, Sagittarius moons in particular, Sagittarius suns as well. You can have a dream because Jupiter is the planet that brings higher knowledge and connects us somehow to messages from above. Jupiter is like the God's will, or how do I say, God's benevolent will, and Jupiter rules angelic forces, which are messengers from God. So some answer to a question can come to you, something that you've been in a dead end or blocked about, through a dream. An answer you can receive. 12th house is our dreams or intuition or meditative state, or just kind of, it can come, emerge from the subconscious and just pop into your head, into the conscious, and you'll be like, this week, like you can receive an answer to something through your intuition, in a dream state as well. Some spiritual work you can do. There might be some breakthrough in spiritual work that you've been doing. Maybe you've been trying to lucid dream and awake yourself in the dream. Now it can happen. Jupiter is so close to Earth in your 12th house of spiritual work and the imagination. If you try to, or maybe 12th house is something to do with foreign travels, faraway places, there can be some positive developments in regards to that. Or a 12th house is also something to do with deep understanding and insight, or finding a research as well. Maybe you're a student, maybe you're a PhD, maybe you're doing some research, or scientist. You can have Jupiter is so bright, so close. Jupiter, as I said, brings divine knowledge. You can tap into those channels now intuitively almost, and have some breakthrough or aha moment. Okay, if you are Capricorn, it's in your 11th house. So some important development in a positive way, or manifestation in regards to your friendships, with relationships with friends as well, or maybe some benefactor that wants to help you fulfill a goal of yours. 11th house is people that want to help us in some way, that believe in us. 11th house is titles, honors, and recognitions and gains. That can be a time when you get like a aha moment, because Jupiter is knowledge, higher knowledge, and clarity about how you can become more gainful. Even there can be some important, like, more gains that come into your life today, this week, in this phase of Jupiter, fullness of Jupiter, so bright. Or maybe you can come a step closer to fulfilling some long-term goal or dream of yours, or maybe some kind of recognition, or maybe on your path to some recognition, you can take an important step ahead. Okay. So gains, social economic gains, it's the 11th house. Okay. So if you are Aquarius, it's in your 10th house. Roughly, I'm Aquarius. It's in my 9th house according to Placidus, and it's in my 10th house according to the whole sign house system. So if you can check both systems, both work in different ways, but both do. So for Aquarius, it's in your 10th house of career. Aquarius, make a wish about your career, or there can be some important manifestation and important, like, something goes really well in regards to your career. Something goes really well in regards to, because Jupiter is so benefic, it's so close, to us. Something can go well in regards to your reputation, or maybe some authority figure, someone in power, maybe some institution that you're trying to communicate with, institution, or do something. You can be granted a favor there, or you can receive whatever you've been trying to receive from that institution or this person in power. So something important, all father figures is the 10th house as well. Something important can happen from high above the 10th house, is people high above, high in power, that move forward, or that, give a favor, or if it's your own career, that something positive happens as an opportunity and growth. Maybe a project that you've been working on already, because Jupiter is retrograde, that can start fruitioning or start manifesting, or is full now, or some important phase of it concludes or peaks in some way, some opportunity that comes to you from the past in regards to your career. maybe a job, a promotion, or something also can be happening around next week, about this phase of Jupiter. And if you're Pisces, it's in your 9th house, Pisces. Well, Jupiter is full. Jupiter is your planet, and your planet is so close to Earth. What can I say? It's like, this week you can feel a lot more protected. 9th house is a house of, just like Sagittarius, I forgot to say, because Jupiter is in the 12th house. Sagittarius can feel, Jupiter is the planet that rules them, so it rules Pisces. Those two signs, people with Sagittarius or Pisces rising in particular, or Sun and Moon as well, they can feel more protection. They can feel like they're given, just like Scorpio, a bit more opportunities than other signs this week. Something important can happen for them because their planet is so close. It's like the Lord that presides over them personally are closer to them to help them, So, Sagittarius, Pisces, Scorpios are the ones that actually will benefit the most, I think, because of the rulership. And, you always look at where a planet is doing something in the signs it rules. So it's doing something in Scorpio, and the signs it rules is Sagittarius and Pisces. But going back to Pisces, you guys are going to have a maybe some 9th house is high in knowledge. It can be very good for someone who wants to get accepted to university, someone who is studying in university, who is studying higher studies, who is studying astrology or philosophy or anything, higher knowledge of any sort. They can have some deep understanding, deep realization, something that they receive the fullness of, some academic achievement as well. If you're trying to do something to do with foreign travel, with documents, with relocating, Jupiter becoming so full in the 9th house, now they can move forward with those steps. Maybe a door opens now in regards for you to travel or to move to another faraway place, not necessarily a different country, but a different state, faraway place, 9th house, or to legalize yourself in some way. Look at me hoping every week that I get my visa finally. And it's happening in my 9th house according to Placidus. So who knows, it can be a step further towards that. So Jupiter is beneficial for such things in the 9th house, plus for awareness about higher truths and higher knowledge. Just being generally more lucky. When Jupiter is in the 9th house and it's so strong, you become luckier, guys, and you can even foresee something about your future, and something you can get like a great advice from someone, or your inner intuition, because Jupiter in the 9th house is very intuitive. Just like Jupiter in the 12th house, you can see like an inner clarity about where your path is headed in life, or some opportunity from the past can come back now to you. So that's my prediction for you guys. I hope you enjoyed. Please listen to the whole thing. It's so much fun. It's so interesting. I don't know. Maybe I'm too passionate about astrology, guys, but isn't it fascinating? And thank you so much. I'll try to do every week, and every week constantly, because there are quite a lot of interesting things starting to happen astrologically. This summer will be on fire. Mars will be closest to the Earth, just like Jupiter is currently this week, next week, the week after that. Yes, the opposition is on the 9th of May, but it's like a few weeks that, this energy is very powerful. Jupiter is so strong, and its gravitation is so strong on the Earth. So don't forget, grab your seat for a webinar, 6-month webinars every 2 weeks with me about the houses. And house cusp and rulers, and we're going to talk about yogas, combinations of planetary rulers, how some make wealth yogas, how some make poverty yogas. This is knowledge that's so simple to explain, but so profound that you'll be a few steps ahead, even astrologers with years and years of experience. Thank you so much. Love you all, and check out all the classes and courses that I've done over the years, if you want to study astrology with me. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.